So I'm Thomas Faulkner. I studied at the Architectural Association, and I've been given the commendation in the Dissertation Award for the just for the Dissertation Award. And the name of my project is called The Art of Getting By from Domestic Abuse to Social Housing. So the project works a lot with survivors of domestic abuse, people who are also currently experiencing domestic abuse. And then the project looks at the role of architecture in abuse, both across three stages, from the process of abuse, escape from abuse, and then the process of recovery. And it looks at the role that architecture plays in each of these three stages, working, as I say, with those survivors of domestic abuse, to then be able to understand how architecture can form this precondition for recovery, and how to adapt existing social housing, which works in accordance with the 2021 Domestic Abuse Act, to then be able to support those people who've experienced domestic abuse. So the project came about, it started with somebody that came to speak to me, a mother, when I was working with some children within the local church, and the mum came to speak to me about her own experience of domestic abuse. And then when I looked into it further, I realised that the 2021 Domestic Abuse Act looks to use social housing as a response for domestic abuse, but then you realise that actually many people aren't leaving their abuser, or they're returning to their abuser, because social housing doesn't offer the qualities that they actually need for a restorative response from abuse. And so the project then situated itself within actually what does architecture enable, or what does architecture prevent when it comes to this experience of domestic abuse. Yeah, it's a real honour to be nominated. It's a real honour to have got the commendation. I've been continuing the research since finishing the project, and so to get the commendation, it raises the awareness that actually the architectural community cares about this as a subject, and this is something that is worth continuing the research in, that can actually hopefully get to a point where it will enable some kind of spatial criteria or spatial support for those who've experienced the abuse.